Alright, so now I'll install the front steering knuckle and the aluminium hub for the front side. So for the front side, we will have to remove the steering linkage, the upper tie rod and the connecting shaft. So first I'll remove this steering linkage screw. And this time I'll do it simultaneously, so I'll remove the other end as well. The car is brand new. The plastic surrounding this joint here is obstructing the hex drive from connecting the screw. Then I'll also remove the 12mm plastic hubs. So the plastic hubs are separated. And remove the metal pin. Next I'll remove this hub, again using the 2mm hex wrench. Now there seems to be a bushing over here, which I'll have to make sure not to lose, and the other side as well. And on the bottom side also we have a screw that needs to be removed. And on the other side as well. So once the screw on the top and bottom of the caster hub is removed, you can pull this part from the side and slide the dog bone out. Now here we have metal bushings for the caster block, so we will have to use them, so make sure not to lose it, and push the drive shaft and separate it from the steering knuckle, and also remove the bearings. So this is the left steering knuckle that I've removed. Similarly, I'll remove the right side as well. Alright, so both the plastic steering knuckles are separated from the car. Now it's time to separate the caster block. Now the screw for this part is slightly angled on the bottom side. So to remove it, we will need the 2mm hex drive, and I'll hold the car at, let's say, 35 to 30 degree angle, and then place the hex drive directly on the screw. So here you can see the angle that I just mentioned. Similarly on this side. So the top tie rod and the steering linkage from the steering knuckle and the front caster hub are separated. Now we need to remove the shaft that connects the front hub to the A-arm. So with the 1.5mm hex wrench. I'll remove the screw over here. Similarly on the other side. And then with a tweezer or a sim ejector tool, just push the pin and the front C hub should be separated from the lower A arm. Similarly on the left side. So then I'll unpack the steering block and the C hub for the front side. So these are the aluminum steering knuckles. The finish is just incredible. And these are the front C hubs or the caster hub. These are also labeled, so right and for the left side. The quality is really top notch. Here's a comparison between the metal and the plastic steering knuckle. And this is how the plastic and the CNC aluminum front C hub look. Alright, so let's begin with the installation. Alright, so first I will begin with the installation of C hub, and I'll make sure that I have the correct side with me. Yeah, so this is the right side. I need the left one. And then I'll slide the connecting shaft and make sure that the shaft is flush with the A arm. And before I forget, I'll install the tiny screw that secures the shaft. And I'll make sure that there's no binding or friction. Now here I have the right steering knuckle with me, which will be installed like this. Actually, first I'll install the bearings on the steering knuckle. Like so. And I'll also install the CVT drive shaft, and then I'll slide in the caster bushing. Actually, to make things simpler, I'll also install the 12mm hex hub at this stage. So I'll take the small pin, slide it through the drive shaft or the drive cup, and here I have the 12mm hex hub. And the grub screw is already seated in the hub, so I'll just slide it on top and secure it with the 1.5 millimeter hex wrench. Same for the left steering knuckle. Install the bearings. The plastic bushing surrounding the bearing is actually new, so for the first time it's a bit difficult to slide the bearing inside. So I've installed the bearing on the left steering knuckle as well. I'll install the CVT drive shaft. Place the small pin that will hold the hex hub, so 12 millimeter hex hub. Alright, so now I'll install the right C hub as well. This is how the caster hub or the C hub will be installed. Alright, so then to install this steering knuckle with the drive shaft and the dog bone, I'll slide it through this and insert the metal bushing. Now this is gonna be slightly challenging for me because of the camera in my way. Okay, so I've held the car like this, facing nose up, and then it's easier to slide the steering knuckle over the C hub. And before I miss the alignment or lose it, I'll just secure the screw with the 2 millimeter hex wrench. So finally the steering knuckle and the caster hub are attached. The most challenging part till yet. So then I'll align the dog bone to the diff cup, and now because I have to replace the bell crank as well, I'll leave the steering linkage for now and I'll install the upper tie rod, for which I'll have to invert the car. So I've connected the upper tie rod to the caster block, and I've just secured the screw. I had to do this off camera because the dog bone and this tie rod had to be aligned, with the dog bone still fixed in the diff cup and in the diff cup basically. Right side has been completed. Only the steering linkage has to be connected. Once I uh, install the aluminum bell crank. So let me complete the left hand side of the assembly. Alright, so first I'll hold this steering linkage horizontally and install the metal bushing. Maintain that level. And then I'll hold the car facing towards me like this. Okay. Once aligned, without wasting any time, I'll secure the screw. And then insert the dog bone into the diff cup and connect the upper tie rod. So one problem that I faced was the screw for the upper tie rod was not twisting easily. So maybe there was some error in the drilling of the screw for the hole, because the screw for the other side was easy to install, but for this side I had to apply a lot of pressure to slide the screw in. Maybe the threadings for this part are not drilled well, but I've managed to install the screw. So now it's time to replace the bell crank and then attach the steering linkage.